All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into a really fascinating contradiction, something that sits at the very heart of why we play video games. The big question is this: why do we happily, even eagerly, sign up for experiences where we are absolutely guaranteed to fail?
So let's start with a confession. Not from me, but from game theorist Jesper Jewell. This quote really kicks things off with a personal story that gets right to the point of what we're talking about today. Okay, so Jewell's playing this game Patapon, right? And he just gets completely stuck. His little warriors are failing over and over, and he feels, totally incompetent. It's that feeling we all recognize, that deep, gnawing frustration that makes you just want to quit. It's an emotion we spend our whole lives trying to avoid.
But here's where it gets weird. He picks up a different game, Meteos, and he crushes it on his very first try, no problem at all. And his reaction? He gets angry. So think about that. He hated failing, sure, but it turns out he hated not failing even more. Beating a game without any struggle wasn't satisfying, it was just annoying. And that right there is the central puzzle we're going to unravel.
This whole contradiction is what Jewell calls the paradox of failure. And it's a puzzle that really gets to the very core of why we even bother to play games in the first place.
I mean, when you break it down, it sounds completely illogical. Step 1. In life, we try to avoid failure. Step 2. In games, we fail constantly. Step 3. We actually go looking for these games anyway. These three things just don't seem to add up. So, what is going on here?
Now, the easy answer, the one you always hear, is to just kind of shrug and say, oh, it's just a game. The idea is that the failure isn't real, so it doesn't really matter. But that's not the whole story, is it?
Because let's be real, we get genuinely upset when we lose. That frustration, that feeling of not being good enough, those emotions are 100% authentic. We put in real effort, real time to try and win. So that it's just a game argument, it kind of falls flat. It doesn't explain why we keep coming back for more punishment.
To really get it, game theorists talk about this idea called the magic circle. Just think of it as a temporary bubble where the normal rules of life don't apply. Inside that bubble, everything changes.
Here's a perfect example. In real life, if you physically block someone's path and stop them from getting where they're going, it's rude. It's antisocial. But inside the magic circle of a game, blocking your opponent isn't just expected, it's good strategy. The rules of the game totally transform what our actions mean.
Okay, so this brings us to the real heart of the argument. If the failure feels real and the emotions are real, what is it about game failure that makes it not just okay, but something we actually want?
Well, it all comes down to a very special promise that games make to us. It's a promise that we almost never get in the real world. And honestly, it's what keeps us completely hooked.
This is it. A good game is designed to make you feel inadequate, to show you that you're not good enough yet. But, and this is the crucial part, it also promises you a clear, fair path to get better, to overcome that inadequacy. It creates the problem and then hands you the solution. It's a journey of redemption. But, to even want that redemption, you have to be able to handle the failure without your ego just getting completely crushed. And luckily, psychology gives us a fantastic way of understanding how we pull that off.
It's something called attribution theory. And all it really means is that when things go wrong, our brains immediately try to figure out why. We need to assign a cause, to point a finger somewhere, just to make sense of why we lost.
And we basically have three options. We can blame ourselves, an internal cause. I'm just not good enough. Or we can blame something external. We can say, this game is just unfair, or the controls are bad. That's blaming the entity. Or we can just chalk it up to pure bad luck. Remember Jewell's story about Patapon? He blamed the game's confusing design. Classic case of blaming the entity.
And this, of course, is a totally human thing to do. It's a self-serving bias. When we lose, we look for excuses to protect our ego. But when we win, oh yeah, that was all skill. Games give us the freedom to use these little mental tricks. We can say, this game is stupid anyway, and that lets us keep playing without feeling like a total failure. So all of this, the magic circle, the promise of redemption, the psychology of blame, it all builds to this really powerful idea about what makes video games a completely unique art form. Think about it. When you watch a movie or read a book, you see a character struggle with their own limitations. You might feel for them, but you're always at a safe distance. You're just an observer.
But games call your bluff. They don't just tell you a story about a challenge. They make that challenge your challenge.
It's your own lack of skill, your own bad decisions, your own limitations that are right there on the screen for you to see.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Video games are the art of failure. They're not just about having fun. They are these incredible, safe spaces designed for us to practice and experiment with one of the hardest parts of being human. They're basically laboratories for losing.
It's a pretty powerful thought, and something to keep in mind the next time you pick up a controller and find yourself staring at that game over screen. That's it for this explainer.